Welcome to part 3 of our chakra series.
Hi, and welcome to Light for Life. If you are returning to our channel, thank you. We value and appreciate you. Our aim is to shine a bright light on your inner splendor and assist to connect you to your magnificence via what we intend to be enlightened sharing, potentially educational, and hopefully entertaining information, as well as encouragement for new perspectives. If you are new here, you are most welcome. We do hope that you will find our content highly beneficial and enjoyable. I am Liss. I'm a science of mind practitioner and a teacher of various healing modalities applicable to all aspects of the self and this life.
And I am Lori. I am a holistic wellness researcher and educator. Welcome to Connections with Liss and Lori. We use the space to offer our perspective regarding multiple different topics that we certainly hope you find inspiring. If you have not seen 1 or 2, you might want to stop and go back to those as a foundation for this one, because we're going to take a much deeper dive than we did even in part 2. And in this one, we are going to go into more about practices, things that we can do to help balance our chakras, to help them heal. And we're just talking right now, we're just talking about the chakras that we know of that are essentially within our physical, mental, and emotional bodies. We haven't even talked about phase 2. So for phase 1, what are some of the things that we can do to help heal and balance our chakras?
Well, honey, there again, if you understand the correlation of each of the various chakras to certain elements of life, shall we say, certain components and compartments of life. So there are centers like the root center that have more to do with our sense of safety and survival. And then there are centers like the heart center that has more to do with our relationships. So there are various practices and healing modalities for each chakra individually if we identify that that's where we have a particular block. So if we feel truly powerless, we're going to want to have practices for the solar plexus. If we feel like we cannot express ourselves, we're going to want practices for the throat chakra, things like that.
Mhm.
But then it is also essential to consider the chakra centers as a light body in and of themselves that need to be balanced with one another. So I may have a very, very healthy and flourishing sacral chakra, but my throat chakra is blocked. And so the overall result of that is that my sacral chakra is this big, spinning really fast, full of really good energy. And my throat chakra is yay big and blocked and stuck. So my energy body doesn't have a very nice figure. My energy body is completely out of balance.
I
So
love your analogies.
So, in order to get the energy flowing healthily through the whole system, yes, I need to work on the fact that my throat chakra is so teeny tiny and so blocked. I need to practice expressing more of my truth, opening up, starting to talk about how I really feel. So maybe I need to go to therapy to learn how to do that in a safe space. And then when I'm brave enough, I can start expressing myself in spite of the fear of rejection to those that I love. And slowly but surely, I start unlocking and opening up that throat chakra. And then the more I express myself and the more comfortable I get about expressing myself, the more I am connecting with my authenticity and genuinely healing that center. So now my energy body's perfect figure is actually nice and round because all of my chakras look like CD discs and they spin around just like the old LPs used to on a record player. And they are all more or less the same size and spinning at the same rate. So the toroidal field of my greater energy is able to flow unrestricted and undistorted through my entire energy system. So, like with all things, any practice begins with awareness. What are my false beliefs? What am I saying? What am I speaking over myself and my life? Unconsciously, usually. How do I feel? And what is my state of being? And which one of my chakra centers most connects to those issues? Where would those kind of thoughts go? Where would those emotions block? And then find a practice that resonates with that particular chakra. So if I'm trying to get over an addiction, for example, then I know I need to find a practice for my root chakra. I need to deal with emotions of not feeling safe. I need to deal with thoughts about shame and rejection and change those truths for myself. And how I do that is up to me. What would be a more healthy way of ensuring my survival? Perhaps I can run every day instead of have a drink every night at 6 p.m. Those are both controlled by the root chakra. So again, I come back to it's about awareness of your story, your inner world, and where you are vibrating. Identify if there is one or more chakra where most of your issues are, and begin to deal with those things. And once you have healthier individual centers, then you can take on a practice of keeping them balanced and aligned with one another. And once you're doing that, then you can graduate to higher practices. Practices like guided meditation, where you work on actually shielding the chakras, closing up portals, repairing cracks and holes, sealing them in love, learning how to expand them, learning how to spin them faster, learning how to get your energy flowing in incredibly powerful and wonderful ways. Because when you have all 7 of your chakras aligned, expanded, and functioning in high energy, what is the result of the 7 colors of the color spectrum? White light. And it is the white light pillar at our core that comes from our divine essence that we can activate to ground us into quantum energy when we have all our centers expanded, healthy, and functioning the way that they should. And without that central pillar, the whole system is not stable. And it needs to be stable if we're going to truly be grounded enough to have a higher consciousness spiritual connection. When we try to achieve through backdoor mechanisms like psychedelics, for example, when we try to achieve enlightenment without that central pillar at our core, that is when we're in crazy woo-woo territory and we start believing things that are just wild. Because you have to have that embodied stability first. Otherwise, what is it all revolving around? We can't talk about a core. We can't talk about stability and foundations and groundedness without it. It's like not having a spine, literally.
Literally, I agree. It is that cord, not so much a spinal cord, but it is a cord that does run through our central being. That if it's wonky, I think a spine is probably the most perfect analogy, because when your spine is wonky, organ function can be wonky, your nervous system can be wonky, you might not be able to breathe very well. There's all kinds of pain. So all of that can be overlaid with the fact that if we don't have that non-physical spine running through, all kinds of wonky can be taking place. And I'm so glad that you mentioned fast tracking this process with the aid of plant medicine. I am a huge fan of plant medicine, but I draw the line at going beyond and I say this so carefully because I know so many people love their plant experiences, but
The thing is, sometimes backdoor mechanisms can be beneficial. And I say that coming out of the episode we just did recently on near-death experiences.
right.
In a way, near-death experiences and out-of-body experiences are also backdoors to fast-tracked enlightenment. Cheat codes, I call them. So because I've been blessed enough to have those experiences, I won't ever judge someone who seeks that same backdoor experience via a natural substance. But what I would add is that you don't get the cheat code of an out-of-body or a near-death experience without quite a lot of work having preceded it. A certain sense of inner stability, awareness, and knowing. So if you're going to make use, every now and then perhaps, or one time only, of a backdoor route, like a psychedelic, make sure you have done at least some of that foundational groundwork first. Otherwise, I think it can be dangerous. It's not a judgmental place, which some
No.
people can come from, where they talk about a false enlightenment.
Yeah,
I don't think that's the case. But I do think it can be a dangerous thing to engage in, especially if that's your only source
I
of
agree.
enlightenment.
Yeah,
You've
I
done
agree.
no personal healing, no personal learning, no experience, no doing it the hard way for a little while, none of that. Just the substance, the substance, the substance.
Yeah.
Um, I think, first of all, it deprives us of the ambition required to truly activate our own solar plexus. I think it robs us of an opportunity to do our own healing for our heart center. It can create a very unbalanced and unhealthy root chakra because it's just another form of escapism and addiction, etc., etc., etc. So
Yeah.
we need to, like with all things, be really, really honest with ourselves and put the work in. Put the work in. Because it's not hard work in the blood, sweat, and tears sense of the word. It's work in terms of what we're shifting in our own energy field for ourselves. And I do think that's essential.
I do as well. You know, it's a little bit shortchanging yourself of the actual learning that is so beneficial to understanding who you are and to understanding how you relate with the world and everything that encompasses. You know, as you're speaking, I'm thinking of in school when I wasn't interested in the topic and I would cheat on tests because I just didn't care. But in classes that I did care about and topics that I was interested in, I did the work. I read the chapters, I understood the material, and the test was a breeze because I did the essential work to learn that topic. And it's really no different when we're trying to better understand ourselves and understand our discomforts.
As someone who has literally spent my whole life, 40 years, studying all things metaphysics and psychology, I always joke that one has to learn so many things to
Yeah.
arrive at the simple truth.
Hmm.
And then all of that learning
Yeah.
can just be dismissed. My brain has thrown away so many details of
Same.
everything that I've learned because eventually you get to the point where you realize it's not necessary. But one has to study an awful lot of details to actually understand how simple the truth is at the
Yeah,
end of the day.
it's true.
Yeah. And
It's true.
it is really important to do that.
And I would say to anybody watching, don't deprive yourself. There are so many beautiful plants that we can use for our support, but don't deprive yourself of the experience of learning what you came here to learn. And there's so much benefit in the understanding and the process of the understanding.
I do think there are, and this might be unpopular, but there are always negative side effects
Always.
to using those substances.
Hmm.
And yes, the body can deal with them, but again, if they're indulged in moderation, it's no different to a chemical drug in that regard, in my opinion.
Yeah.
There are always negative side effects, and I think sometimes we don't fully understand them very well just yet,
Right.
especially for the substances that have always been illegal.
Right.
Not much study has gone into the ways in which they can be harmful
Yeah.
because they were illegal. So no one really bothered to study them, right?
Right. Right. So we have done a really nice overview of the chakras. We have touched on how we can start to heal them and balance them and keep them balanced. Shall we dip into the beyond?
I think we can definitely do that in our next episode. But for now, let's end this one and just tease the audience perhaps a little that there is so much more to the quantum energy field and to the potential energy vortexes that we can connect to. So there's your motivation for doing your healing work for each individual chakra, for finding practices that keep those chakra centers healthy, for finding other practices that keep those chakras all balanced and expanded and healthy with one another. Make sure to connect with the pillar at your core and truly ground yourself, not just in your physical body, but in your light body. Because when you allow yourself to be truly centered in the core essence of who you are, then a whole cosmic universe of sparkly potentials and waves opens up for you. And you can energetically begin to experience how much more there is to this life than just this physical realm.
Thank you for connecting with Light for Life. If you appreciate reminders, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel so you can receive those notifications. If you would like to work with one of us, you can find our contact information in the About section of this channel.
Yes, thank you for connecting with Light for Life. Please share your insights, your questions, and your comments with us in the comment section below. We value your feedback. And we really hope that we will see you for our next episode. We upload one every Thursday. Until then, bye-bye and be joyful.
Until we connect again, we send you love and light.